I want you to picture the most stressful moment of any travel day. You've just landed after an 8-hour flight. Your body is stiff, your mouth is dry, and your brain is running on fumes as you navigate a foreign airport, searching for signs, connections, or a driver. You reach into your pocket and pull out your phone, your one lifeline to everything you need, and then you see it, the red battery icon, 4%. Your heart jumps. That phone isn't just a phone. It holds your boarding pass, your hotel confirmation, your family photos, and the apps that manage your money. If that phone dies, you are suddenly very alone. You scan the terminal in panic, and then you see it, a sleek metal charging kiosk glowing under bright lights. Free charging station. It feels like a rescue signal. You hurry over, plug in your cable, hear that comforting chime, and watch the battery symbol come back to life. Relief washes over you. You think you're safe. I need you to hear this clearly. You are not safe. In that moment, you may have walked straight into a digital trap. While you stand there sipping coffee and watching the percentage climb, something invisible can be happening inside that cable. In less than a minute, a compromised charging station can bypass security, copy passwords, clone banking access, and pull photos from your phone. This attack has a name. It's called juice jacking. I once flew with a passenger named Mr. Henderson. He arrived in London feeling prepared and cautious. He didn't lose his wallet. He wasn't robbed on the street. He simply charged his phone at the wrong place. By the time he reached his hotel, $8,000 was gone from his account. He paid for electricity with his identity. If we haven't met before, my name is Mila. I've been a flight attendant for 15 years, and I call myself a guardian of travel. I've watched airports transform. Years ago, security meant shoes, liquids, and metal detectors. Today, the danger isn't always the person next to you. Sometimes it's the infrastructure itself. The FBI has issued official warnings against public USB charging stations because criminals know something simple. It's easier to steal from thousands of tired travelers using a free charging sign than it is to trick them with emails. I make these videos especially for travelers who didn't grow up with smartphones glued to their hands. You trust public spaces. You assume airport equipment is safe. My job is to break that assumption so you can protect yourself. To do that, we need to start with the wire itself because the danger begins inside the cable. And understanding that danger requires knowing what that cable is actually doing. Most people think of a charging cord like a simple pipe that carries power, nothing more. That belief is exactly what makes this attack so effective. This is the first critical truth you need to understand. A USB cable is not just a power line. It is a two-way communication channel. If you were to cut open a standard USB cable, you would find 4 internal wires. 2 deliver electricity, but the other 2 are designed to transfer data. That design is intentional. It allows you to plug your phone into a laptop to move photos, update software, or back up files. The problem begins when you plug that same cable into a public charging kiosk. Your phone cannot tell whether it's connected to a harmless power source or a fully functioning computer pretending to be one. The moment you plug in, something called a digital handshake occurs. In milliseconds, the kiosk identifies itself as a device. Your phone responds by sharing information about its model, operating system, and permissions. This exchange happens before you ever touch the screen. Modern hacking tools are built to exploit this exact moment. In the past, criminals needed time. Today, they can mount your phone like an external hard drive in seconds. You've probably seen the warning before. You plug your phone into a new device, and a message appears asking if you trust this computer or want to allow data access. Most people tap trust without thinking because they just want the phone to charge or the message to disappear. If you press trust on a malicious kiosk, you have just given that machine legal permission to access your data. From that point on, it isn't hacking, it's authorized access. I once spoke with a grandmother flying to Phoenix who mentioned her phone had been running unusually hot after charging at a photo printing kiosk. She hadn't printed anything, she just used the USB port. A week later, she began receiving extortion emails. Someone had downloaded her entire photo library, including pictures of medication bottles and personal documents she had photographed for convenience. They didn't guess her password. She handed them the door key by trusting the wrong port. If you ever plug in and see a message asking for trust, access, or data permission, unplug immediately. A true power outlet will never ask for permission. Only a computer does. Now let's move to the next evolution of this threat, because criminals adapt to human behavior. Some people have learned not to press trust, so hackers found another way. This is called screen mirroring, and it's more dangerous than it sounds. Modern phones can output video. You've seen it when someone connects their phone to a TV. That same capability can be hijacked. Some compromised charging stations secretly activate your phone's video output the moment you plug in. That means the attacker doesn't need your password. They simply record your screen in real time. They watch you open your banking app. They watch your fingers tap your PIN. They watch you log into email and investment accounts. It's surveillance, not intrusion. I saw this destroy a retired accountant's sense of security. She was charging her tablet in an airport and decided to check her retirement account while she waited. She believed she was safe because she wasn't using public Wi-Fi. She didn't realize the USB port itself was compromised. Days later, a transfer request appeared for $50,000. The bank initially refused to help because the login came from a recognized device. It took years of legal work to recover her savings. This kind of attack bypasses antivirus software entirely. Your phone believes it's simply projecting a display. It has no idea someone else is recording it. And that place is right in front of you once you take your seat. Many travelers assume the airplane is the safest environment of all. After all, it's controlled, regulated, and sealed in the sky. I wish that were true digitally. This is the third threat you need to understand, the flying network, and it surprises even experienced travelers. Those seatback entertainment screens aren't just TVs, they are full computers, usually running older versions of Android or Linux. Airlines update the movies and shows regularly, but they rarely update the underlying security software because doing so requires grounding the aircraft. That means many of these systems are years behind on critical security patches. Even more concerning, every screen on the aircraft is connected to a shared internal network that routes through a central server onboard the plane. When you plug your phone directly into the USB port under the screen, you are connecting your personal device to that network. In most cases, nothing bad happens, but all it takes is one compromised system. If a skilled attacker in another row manages to exploit a vulnerability in the entertainment network, they can scan for other connected devices. Your phone doesn't know it's talking to an unpatched public computer. It performs the same handshake it would anywhere else. I once worked a flight with a business traveler who learned this lesson the hardest way. He plugged his phone into the seatback USB to charge while he slept on an overnight flight to Europe. While he rested, his phone exchanged data with the entertainment system. Unknown to him, the system had been infected earlier by a malicious program left behind by a previous passenger. That malware jumped onto his phone silently. When he landed and connected his phone to his firm's secure Wi-Fi, the malware spread into the company network. The investigation later traced the initial infection to the exact time of his flight. One cable, one NAP, and an entire firm's data was exposed. This is why I never use seatback USB ports. Look around your seat instead. Most aircraft have a standard AC wall outlet near your feet or between seats. Use that. Bring your own charging brick and plug the brick into the outlet, then your cable into the brick. Electricity can flow through an outlet, but data cannot. It's physically impossible. The brick acts as a firewall, allowing power and blocking everything else. Now let's talk about something that feels harmless but is one of the most dangerous habits I see. You're walking through the terminal and spot a pristine charging cable left behind on a chair or plugged into the wall. Maybe it's an Apple cable. Maybe it's USB-C. You think you've gotten lucky. This is the fourth threat, the hardware Trojan. Criminals have created cables that look identical to store-bought chargers. Inside the connector head is a tiny wireless chip with its own server. When you plug that cable into your phone, the chip activates and creates a hidden Wi-Fi network. A hacker nearby connects to it and gains control of your device. They can log keystrokes, steal passwords, lock your phone, or demand ransom. These cables are intentionally left behind in lounges and terminals because criminals know people hate buying accessories. I watched a retired professor fall victim to this after finding a cable in a lounge. His tablet locked up mid-flight with a ransom message. He lost irreplaceable photos because he hadn't backed them up. The cable was the weapon. If you didn't buy it yourself and open the package, do not use it. Ever. Now, imagine a different situation. You sit at a charging hub with multiple USB ports. Someone next to you is plugged in with a laptop. You choose the port right beside them. It feels safe. This is the fifth threat, shared circuits. Many public hubs are cheaply built. Multiple ports often share a single internal bus. A skilled attacker can listen to data traffic from neighboring ports using packet sniffing tools. They don't touch your phone, they simply listen while you type. I witnessed a woman panic after a fraudulent charge appeared on her card. She hadn't used the card at the airport, but she had bought an ebook while charging at a shared hub. The person beside her intercepted the data. And this is where the damage becomes catastrophic because it bypasses the very protections you've been told to rely on. This is the sixth threat, session hijacking, and it's the reason even people with strong passwords and two-factor authentication still lose their savings. Most of you believe that if a hacker doesn't know your password or can't receive your one-time code, your account is safe. I wish that were true. When you log into your bank, investment, or retirement app, you enter your password and then confirm a code sent to your phone. Once that happens, the system issues your device a temporary digital credential called a session token. Think of it like a wristband at a concert. As long as you're wearing it, security doesn't keep checking your ID. That's what allows you to move between pages without re-entering a code every time. A compromised charging station doesn't need your password. It doesn't need your text messages. It steals the wristband. Malware quietly copies the session token file from your phone. The hacker uploads that token into their own browser. When they access the bank, the system sees the wristband and assumes it's still you. No new password prompt, no new text code, full access. I saw this devastate a couple flying to celebrate their retirement. They plugged their phones into a gateside charging kiosk to download boarding passes. While they waited, their banking sessions were copied. Mid-flight, their daughter messaged asking why $40,000 had been wired overseas. The bank initially refused reimbursement because the transfer came from an authenticated session. It looked legitimate. Months of stress followed, and their once-in-a-lifetime cruise became a nightmare of phone calls and paperwork. Never log into financial, email, or cloud storage apps while plugged into a public charger. If you must charge, turn the phone completely off before connecting. Airplane mode is not enough. Power down. That prevents session tokens from being active. At this point, you might be thinking, Mila, you've scared me senseless. My battery is dead. I still need my phone. Good. Fear without a solution is useless. So here is the tool that changes everything. This is the seventh defense, the USB data blocker. A data blocker is a tiny adapter that fits between your charging cable and any USB port. It removes the two data pins from the connection, leaving only power. That means no handshake, no data transfer, no screen mirroring, no token theft. Electricity flows, information does not. That's it. The attack surface disappears. Buy one, they cost less than a cup of airport coffee. Choose one that is clearly labeled or colored so you can recognize it instantly. Tape it permanently to your travel charging cable so you never forget. Once you do this, you can plug into almost any USB port without fear because you've physically removed the danger. Now let me give you the method I personally rely on because it is the most secure option available. This is the eighth defense, the wall hugger protocol. You've seen people sitting on the floor near random wall outlets, charging bricks plugged into sockets behind trash cans or vending machines. They look uncomfortable. They look desperate. They are actually the smartest people in the terminal. A standard wall outlet carries only raw alternating current. There is no data pathway. Your charging brick converts electricity and blocks everything else. It is a physical firewall. Hackers cannot send malicious code through an AC socket. It is impossible. Bring your own charging brick. Always. Never rely on built-in USB ports when a wall outlet exists. But what if there are no outlets? Then use the final layer of protection. Carry a portable power bank. Plug the kiosk into the power bank first. Let the battery charge. Then unplug the battery and use it to charge your phone. A power bank is a dumb device. It has no operating system, no photos, no accounts. Malware has nowhere to go. You've created an air gap. I watched a businessman unplug immediately when he realized why I was charging this way. Be that person. Be the one who knows. We've covered a lot, and I know it's unsettling, but knowledge is armor. And now there's one final mindset shift that ties all of this together, because protecting your phone is really about protecting something much bigger. And that something bigger is your entire digital life. Your phone isn't just a gadget anymore. It's your filing cabinet, your wallet, your photo album, and your key to the outside world. When you travel, especially later in life, that device becomes even more important. It holds your boarding passes, your hotel address in a foreign language, your ride app, your emergency contacts, and the apps that manage decades of savings. Losing control of it, even briefly, can turn a trip into a crisis. What makes this especially dangerous for experienced travelers is confidence. You've handled airports for years. You know how to keep your purse zipped and your passport secure, but digital threats don't trigger the same instincts. A charging station doesn't feel risky, a cable doesn't look suspicious, and criminals depend on that disconnect. They know tired travelers will choose convenience over caution, especially after a long flight or during a tight connection. This is why habits matter more than technology. You don't need to understand code or hacking tools. You just need rules you never break. Never plug your phone directly into a public USB port. Never use a cable you didn't bring yourself. Never log into financial or email accounts while charging in public. These are non-negotiable, the same way you wouldn't leave your wallet unattended on a cafe table. I also want you to rethink how you manage power before you ever leave home. Start your travel day with a fully charged phone and a fully charged power bank. Treat battery life like medication. You wouldn't leave the house without it. Turn on low power mode early instead of waiting for the warning. Close apps you aren't using. Dim the screen. Every percentage you save reduces the temptation to take risks later. There's another quiet benefit to these habits. When you aren't panicking about power, you make better decisions. You don't rush. You don't plug into the first port you see. You stay in control. And control is what keeps travel enjoyable instead of stressful. I've seen too many trips derailed not by missed flights or lost luggage, but by a dead phone and a bad decision made in desperation. That's why I'm firm about this. Convenience is never free. If something is offered to you in a crowded airport with a big free sign, assume you are the product. You've worked too hard for what's on that phone to hand it over to a stranger through a wire. Protecting your device isn't paranoia. It's modern travel hygiene. And once you adopt it, it becomes automatic, just like locking your door when you leave home. Because when you protect your phone, you're really protecting your freedom to move through the world on your own terms, without fear, without panic, and without handing your life to someone you'll never see. And that freedom is what I care about most for you. Travel should make your world bigger, not smaller. It should leave you tired in a good way, full of memories, not anxiety. The reason I'm so serious about phone security isn't because I enjoy scaring people. It's because I've seen what happens when this goes wrong, and I've seen how preventable it is. Every year, I meet travelers who tell me, I wish someone had warned me. They didn't think a charging station mattered. They didn't think a cable could be dangerous. They didn't think a few minutes of charging could cost them years of savings. But once it happens, there is no rewind button. Banks move slowly, investigations drag on, and while the paperwork piles up, your trip, the one you saved for, the one you planned around your health and your energy, slips away. I want you to be the traveler who knows better, the one who calmly pulls out a power bank while everyone else lines up at the USB kiosk, the one who carries a charging brick and a data blocker without thinking twice, the one who never borrows a cable, never trusts a port, and never logs into sensitive apps while plugged into anything public. These aren't extreme measures. They are the new seatbelt. If you take nothing else from this video, remember this simple hierarchy. Wall outlet with your own brick is safest. Power bank as a middle step is next best. USB port with a data blocker is acceptable. USB port without protection is a hard no. Found cables are never an option. Once you lock these rules into your habits, you don't have to think about them again. Safety becomes automatic. I want to hear from you. Be honest. Have you ever plugged into a public USB port because you were desperate? Have you ever borrowed a cable at the airport or on a plane? If so, type guilty in the comments. If you're committing to changing this habit starting today, type never again. When people speak up, it helps others recognize themselves before they make the same mistake. I'll leave you with this thought. Your smartphone is the most valuable thing you carry when you travel. Not because of the device itself, but because of what it represents. Your memories, your money, your independence. You guard your passport with care. You should guard your phone the same way. The world is still worth exploring. Airports are still full of wonder and possibility. You just need to travel a little smarter than you used to. Stay aware, stay charged the right way, and don't trade your digital life for a few minutes of convenience. And that freedom is what I care about most for you. Travel should make your world bigger, not smaller. It should leave you tired in a good way, full of memories, not anxiety. The reason I'm so serious about phone security isn't because I enjoy scaring people. It's because I've seen what happens when this goes wrong, and I've seen how preventable it is. Every year, I meet travelers who tell me, I wish someone had warned me. They didn't think a charging station mattered. They didn't think a cable could be dangerous. They didn't think a few minutes of charging could cost them years of savings. But once it happens, there is no rewind button. Banks move slowly, investigations drag on, and while the paperwork piles up, your trip, the one you saved for, the one you planned around your health and your energy, slips away. I want you to be the traveler who knows better, the one who calmly pulls out a power bank while everyone else lines up at the USB kiosk, the one who carries a charging brick and a data blocker without thinking twice, the one who never borrows a cable, never trusts a port, and never logs into sensitive apps while plugged into anything public. These aren't extreme measures. They are the new seatbelt. If you take nothing else from this video, remember this simple hierarchy. Wall outlet with your own brick is safest. Power bank as a middle step is next best. USB port with a data blocker is acceptable. USB port without protection is a hard no. Found cables are never an option. Once you lock these rules into your habits, you don't have to think about them again. Safety becomes automatic. I want to hear from you. Be honest. Have you ever plugged into a public USB port because you were desperate? Have you ever borrowed a cable at the airport or on a plane? If so, type guilty in the comments. If you're committing to changing this habit starting today, type never again. When people speak up, it helps others recognize themselves before they make the same mistake. I'll leave you with this thought. Your smartphone is the most valuable thing you carry when you travel. Not because of the device itself, but because of what it represents. Your memories, your money, your independence. You guard your passport with care. You should guard your phone the same way. The world is still worth exploring. Airports are still full of wonder and possibility. You just need to travel a little smarter than you used to. Stay aware, stay charged the right way, and don't trade your digital life for a few minutes of convenience.